We often assume that the path to spiritual freedom starts with a profound break, that the moment we finally snap the heavy chains of worldly desires, like greed, anger, and lust, we are suddenly free. But shedding those obvious attachments does not actually destroy the ego. It forces the mind to get creative, pushing it to adopt a new, seemingly flawless mask. The seeker unwittingly trades a heavy iron cage of material wealth for a brilliantly polished golden cage of spiritual ambition. Now, instead of chasing sports cars or promotions, the craving shifts to higher cosmic realms, deep mystical experiences, or achieving the ultimate state of enlightenment. This new ambition is ravenous. It drives the seeker to hoard vast volumes of scripture, sacred texts, and philosophical dogmas. The trap is subtle. We mistake the sheer accumulation of data for actual liberation. That burning thirst to establish yourself as a knower or to elevate yourself to the status of a revered guru operates on the exact same mechanics of craving as the greed you left behind. It is simply wrapped in a cloak of absolute purity. Shifting from worldly to spiritual desires merely replaces one dream with another, leaving the seeker just as trapped as before. To break free, ancient Indian philosophy uses an analytical method called Neti-Neti. This translates to not this, a process of systematically stripping away everything you are not, separating the pure observer from the observed. Eventually, a dedicated practitioner hits a major milestone. They successfully detach their identity from the physical body and the restless mind, resting instead in a state known as Sakshi Bhav, or witness consciousness. But right at this peak, a hidden trap springs shut. The exact moment the mind proudly whispers, "I am the witness," it births a brand new, highly sophisticated spiritual ego. Historically, we see this trap manifest as an ironclad attachment to a specific spiritual identity. The internal stillness degrades into outward, ritualistic performances, where the seeker must constantly prove their awakened status to themselves and others. It creates a stark philosophical contradiction. If you are truly the infinite, boundaryless observer, there cannot be a localized, individual I left over to claim ownership of that observation. As long as there is an I standing apart, trying to claim the experience of liberation, true freedom is impossible. The exhausting duality of the grasper and the grasped remains completely intact. The Advaita tradition, a school of non-dualistic philosophy, explains this trap using a very specific metaphor. Imagine a man who steps on a rusted, infected thorn. To dig it out of his foot, he finds a second, perfectly sharp thorn. The rusted thorn represents worldly ignorance. The sharp thorn is pure spiritual knowledge. The seeker uses spiritual insight to extract the infection. But instead of tossing both thorns away, the seeker makes a critical error, keeping the glowing thorn of knowledge. In practice, keeping the second thorn looks like obsessively polishing your own intellect. It looks like worshiping the spiritual concepts that saved you, and carefully constructing a pristine identity around being an awakened person. This is exactly why historical non-dual masters emphasize that the final step is a complete surrender. Even the most profound, hard-won intellectual understanding of the universe must eventually be discarded. Spiritual knowledge is strictly a surgical tool for extraction. It is not an ornament to be worn on a necklace. Clinging to the very knowledge that freed you ultimately becomes the final, most impenetrable barrier to absolute truth. The ultimate Vedantic directive is absolute. To experience genuine freedom, you cannot just abandon the known world. You have to simultaneously abandon the knower who is observing it. The constant, agonizing effort required to maintain a high spiritual state, or to endlessly witness your own mind, creates a subtle psychological tension. That continuous effort is precisely what blocks your peace. When the ego is finally asked to stop grasping at these high concepts and just allow its own dissolution, the sensation is terrifying. It feels like stepping off a cliff into total oblivion. True realization occurs through the absolute total subtraction of the seeker, leaving no one behind to claim ownership of a divine experience. You cannot actually do anything to become free. True freedom only surfaces when the doer is completely extinguished. What remains when the doer is gone is called Sahaj Avastha. This translates to the natural state, an entirely effortless reality that simply exists when all desires and even the heavy burden of spiritual knowledge are fully dropped. This silent internal reality stands in stark contrast to the heavy machinery of modern spiritual seeking. It requires no fiery debates, no endless discourses, and no gathering of followers to validate its existence. This brings us to the grand paradox. You cannot achieve Sahajavastha through rigorous practice or the passage of time, because it is already your inherent, unchanging baseline. There is no final cosmic destination left to reach. There are no higher realms left to unlock, and no flawless spiritual identity you need to build. You are already exactly what you are looking for. Ultimate liberation requires no heavy lifting. It is simply dropping that perfectly polished thorn of knowledge and resting effortlessly in the infinite emptiness that was there all along.